In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Deluxe Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. And boy, have we got a lot to say about this. Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Deluxe Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. And it is in this new style of packaging that they are going to be using for the deluxe figures. Now, of course, we do have the issue of whether this is a deluxe figure or not in the first place, but I do want to just talk about the packaging first of all. So let's just take Bossk out of the way. So this is the new style of packaging for the Vintage Collection Deluxe figures. First of all, they went with the carded option with the Spider pack with the Mandalorian. And I think they sort of got a bit of feedback regarding those packages, and then they released these. Now, I'm not going to say I don't like it, because I do like it for these. I do like it for the deluxe packs when they are deluxe packs. What I do not want to happen is for these to become the norm and for these to become their sort of zero plastic packaging going forward for regular Vintage Collection figure releases. I really do feel quite strongly about this, in that I believe if they were to remove the bubble and the card backs, then they would lose a very large portion of the people that actually buy the figures in the first place, because I think many people that collect the Vintage Collection collect it for that classic Kenner card back and keep them on card and display them on their walls or put them in star cases or in acrylic cases, whatever they do. And I've already tried to measure this one up against another card back, and funnily enough, this is a lot smaller than I thought it would be, and it is the same size as a card back. So with it being the same size as a regular card, so there, if you look at the back there, that is the same size as a normal Vintage Collection figure. Now, if you were to put it in a star case, you would think, oh great, that's going to fit. But because of the box and because of this lip here, where the back panel of the star case goes, unfortunately it won't fit in there. Now, I do believe that the box is deep enough to fit in a star case, so it wouldn't have a problem at all in that respect. It's purely where the back panel of the star case would fit. So the back panel squeezes up on this lip here, and because you've got this lip, the box isn't going to fit, which is a bit of an issue. However, as I mentioned, the dimensions of the back panel are pretty much exact. If you look at the size of a card back there, they are pretty much exactly the same size. So they've kept that part of it. Now, when we look at the box itself, we have an image of the figure instead of some artwork. We have that sunburst thing there, which shows you the removable rocket there. It doesn't fire, it is just removable, instead of obviously some artwork of the figure and the bubble there. So that's the difference. But we do have the Book of Boba Fett logo at the top, very much like the Fennec Shan figure. We have Boba Fett Tatooine. So this is the Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. We are getting another one of these with how he looked in the Mandalorian Season 2. I think it's the Morak figure. But there he is. There's the back of the box there. Again, they've used the same shot. We've got the Vintage Collection logo, no numbering or anything like that. Big Boba Fett or Book of Boba Fett logo there. And then you also get a little panel here with what's included. So we're getting the jetpack, some fire effects, the helmet, 2 Stormtrooper helmets and 2 blasters. Side of the box there, we have an image of the figure with the head, and then the other side we have the image with the Stormtrooper helmets. Nothing on the bottom apart from some legal gumph. So there he is. So to open him up, we're just going to slice a piece of sellotape here and remove the inside and see how they've packaged it with the zero plastics. And there we go. That is how the figure is packed with inside the box. So you've got his accessories in these sort of like, almost like wax packets. They feel really waxy. And then there's the figure, you know, held into place with a piece of cardboard. So there is no plastics in here apart from sellotape. I'm not too sure if that is even plastic, but that's held in by sellotape. So we'll remove all this and we'll take a look at the figure. Now, just quickly before I do that, I fully expect Hasbro to, you know, repack this figure on his own card. I think it is a bit strange having Fennec Shan on that card back and not to have her like buddy, partner in crime on those card backs. It seems a bit weird. I think, you know, essentially they've released it like this with all the extras to call it deluxe to get maximum profit from it, and then they'll release him on his own card minus the Stormtrooper helmets is how I feel they'll do it. That's my hope anyway. All right then, so here is the figure out of the packaging, and let's just forget about the packaging for one moment because I've said my piece on that, but the figure is unbelievable. It is a really, really good figure. There's no two ways about it. It's packed with articulation. It's packed with detail. The paint apps are fantastic. And you just got to look at that helmet there. And the great thing is it's a removable helmet, and it just shows you that they can do it. It's not too big. It's in scale. And when you take it off, he has an amazing head sculpt underneath the helmet. Now, I would say that my paint is ever so slightly missing a piece on his lip there, on the sort of his right, our left side of his lip, but I'm okay with that. And that's a great example here of where the packaging doesn't really work, because of course if this figure was hanging on the pegs in a bubble, a clear bubble, then you'd be able to see how well the paint has been applied onto that head, and you'd be able to pick the best example possible. But of course with the packaging as it is, you aren't able to do that. So if I was in a shop, I would have made sure I picked a much better example than that. Having said that, there's the helmet. It's a removable helmet, and it's a soft rubbery plastic. You can squeeze it, which means it fits on the head perfectly. Now, we don't have a articulated rangefinder, which is a bit disappointing, because you do have that on the new Death Watch Mandalorian. But man, look at the paint scheme on that helmet there, all the battle scars and everything. That is awesome. Really, really cool. On the side there, you have his Mythosaur logo on his shoulder pad there. Nothing on the other side, but you do have those pipes going into his gauntlets. Bit of paintwork on the other gauntlet there. And then moving down the figure, you have some nice paintwork on his belt. And you have the soft goods skirt, if you want to call it, or karma, I guess it is, on the back there. You have the hole in his back for the jetpack, which is here. So if we turn that around, there's some half decent paintwork on the jetpack there. Nothing to complain about there. You have the rocket, which is going to go inside, and we're going to see how well that works in a second. But we're just going to put this jetpack on the back of the figure now. And that fits in really, really well. And then the jetpack is just going to go inside there. And that actually clips in really nice. That's secure. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you could take that out and shoot it off like that. But, of course, there's no sort of rocket mechanism or firing mechanism. It's purely just for sort of play feature, which is pretty cool. I like that. I mean, my son is going to love this. He's going to be taking this figure off my hands, I'm sure, once I'm done with this review. I'm just going to take the blaster out of his hand so you can see the paintwork there on his armor. Really, really good. I mean, there is a lot of light reflecting off that, but don't worry, it is a matte paint. And you can see some detail on his boots there and everything. So really, really good. I'm going to go through the articulation in a minute, because it is really, really good how they've sculpted and how they've engineered this figure. That is a bit of a disappointment, I must admit. As I say, with the Death Watch Mandalorian that we've got most recently, that does have a working rangefinder. That is a bit of a disappointment in what is an otherwise a brilliant looking figure. You get the two rocket effects, which we will place onto the jetpack right now. So there you go, there he is with the rocket packs. I mean, for me, that's a bit gimmicky. I'm not going to be displaying with those at all, but they're there if you want to do so. Here's the larger of the two blasters. This is his main sort of blaster that he has, his most famous one for Boba Fett. And yeah, it's very nice paintwork indeed. You've got a brown stock and some silver paintwork with a darker gunmetal grey as the main body of the weapon. That's pretty good. So I'm quite happy with that. Once again, it is a bit rubbery, which is a bit disappointing. When you're trying to get that into his hand, it does fall out quite a lot. So just be careful with that. But I guess once you get it into the pose you want, it does eventually stay. His tiny little secondary blaster here, again, does have a brown handle. And that will fit into his holster on the side there. And it seems to stay in place. The two Stormtrooper helmets that are included are different from one another, so they do have a different paint scheme, and also they are sculpted in such a way that they have been sort of battered and beaten up, hit with the gaffy stick and what have you, and they do include barbells on them, so you can actually remove the helmet from the VC-140 Stormtrooper that you also got in those 4 packs. You can take that head straight off, and then you can put this head on like so. So you can actually have a battered old Stormtrooper or a dead Stormtrooper lying on the floor in some kind of diorama with that battered helmet, which I've got to say is a nice inclusion that you can actually put it onto the body of a Stormtrooper. Going back to the figure itself and looking at the articulation, as I mentioned, it is absolutely packed with articulation. So the head is on a double barbell, so you can go back and forth, side to side, all the way round, Loads and loads of articulation there. Shoulders are on a ball hinge, and the armour on his shoulders is a separate piece, and that's like a rubbery plastic, so it doesn't restrict. So you can go right up like so. You can go all the way round, and I don't think that's going to break. That seems to be quite secure on there, and that's the same for both sides. Ball hinges at the elbows, which swivel, and a hinge at the wrist. And then we have this really good ball hinge on his body there. You can really get him into some crunches, side to side. He swivels, really, really good range of motion on his body. And then he does have the new style hips, the joints at the hips there, which is good. We have a split at the thigh. We have ball hinged knees, which does get covered up by that armour piece there on his knee, which is brilliant. And then he has hinge and rocker ankles, which is fantastic. So as I say, you can get this guy into all sorts of decent poses. Really, really nice figure. It's just a shame that he's in a box and not on a card back, but I've got a feeling that we will see him on a card back at some point. We're just having to pay through the nose to get those extra pieces, but it's a nice surprise that the Stormtrooper helmets do have the barbell and you can actually put them on a Stormtrooper figure, so that's an added bonus. And ever so quickly, I did just want to compare the figure's height against some other figures that we do have. So we've got the Fennec Shand in the middle there. He is ever so slightly taller than her. And we have the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, which to me, they look roughly about the same height, which is good. So there you go. That's those three figures compared in terms of how tall they are. So there you go then. That's the figure itself. You do get all of the extra accessories. You get his blasters, 2 blasters there, one in his side holster. You get his rocket pack with the removable rocket, which is a bit of a gimmick, I would say. The 2 bits of flame effect coming out the back of his rocket pack, which I think are pretty useless. I'm not really too keen on those. And the removable helmet, which is a marvel. Really, really good. I love that. I think that looks absolutely perfect. Don't think you can get any better than that, except for the fact that it doesn't have the articulated rangefinder. But, you know, when you're looking at that helmet sculpt there, I think they've done really, really good. And it just shows that you can get a removable helmet on what is actually quite a big head. So it just shows you that you could do a clone trooper, for example, with a removable helmet that isn't oversized. But there you go then, guys. That is my review of the brand new Deluxe Boba Fett from the Book of Boba Fett. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like down below if you have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Your support of this channel is amazing. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.